Good morrow, scholars. Welcome to a sort of little special. It's been a while, and I noticed that Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes has been doing really well for the channel. And so I thought, let's go through and do a little retrospective of sorts. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, there's this website that I frequent quite often, and I realize what I just said. It's called TV Tropes. I implore you, tread carefully. You will never leave. Anyway, so I'm going to be on the page. Hopefully it'll still be recording even with it not being at the forefront, and we can discuss, or well, I guess I would be reading to you about little stuff and things about Five Nights at Freddy's The Silver Eyes. So let's get started. Okay, so I can't see me, so keep that in mind. I apologize. I wish there was some way I could do that for you guys. Anyway, a little bit of trivia. There's only two things under the page, but real quick. The book was originally supposed to come out December 22nd, but it ended up being released early because of the paperback and Kindle releases being finished sooner. So it was released on the 17th of December rather than the 22nd. So even with every other game of his coming out at the proper time, or before the proper time, the one time he's going to keep to the schedule, it ends up coming out early. There was the author, Kira Breed Risley, I guess is her name. She is, in fact, a real person, and apparently a lot of people thought that she didn't exist because they couldn't find anything about her. It says here that Scott himself told Kira, here it says, set your social accounts to private before the book comes out so that people wouldn't bother her, obviously. There's this page, it's called Fridge Brilliance in this case. There's also Fridge Horror and Fridge Logic. Now, I don't want to go into detail, but when you go to the website and you look up all this stuff, you'll eventually figure it out. Okay, the Fridge Brilliance, here, let's see what someone has to say. And this actually is a really good thing because one of you, my little viewers, was just talking about this very thing, I believe. The killer has scars making it clear he had the spring locks in one of his suits fail, which we know causes the wearer to be impaled by releasing spring locks and the interlocking animatronic machinery, which begs the question, that's not the proper use of that phrase, of how he survived to begin with. The two possible choices are that his heavy build, he was much stockier in the past, prevented him from being stabbed deeply enough to die from it, or that he didn't, and his presence is just as supernatural as that of the possessed animatronics and Golden Freddy. I didn't even think about that. See, that's why I like going to this page, the Fridge Brilliance page, because there are people with so much insight and things that you wouldn't have... Shut up, Bronte. Jeez, that scared me. Shush. Shush. Oh my gosh, that scared me. But they have insight that you never would have thought of on your own, and I'm very grateful. Unlike some people, I appreciate when someone else is smarter than me or provides an explanation for something that I can't myself explain. Oh, here's a good one. Let's go to the Nightmare Fuel page. Okay. The cover alone is rather disturbing. Classic Freddy in a red-tinted area with trees similar to the FNAF 4 title screen. What really sells it, though, is that Freddy doesn't have his creepy blue eyes nor his white-on-black glowing eyes of doom. He has glowing red eyes. And if one looks closely, the rest of the Fazbear 4 are hiding in the picture just behind Freddy. Give me a second while I get Bronte before she gets really annoying. What can I say? My dogs are dumb. Ah, okay. You guys remember? Okay. The Nightmare Fuel page is pretty much whatever causes you to be afraid, like thinking about it if it happened in real life, stuff like that. Someone here points out how the animatronics are basically Terminators in this book. Who can forget the description of how you die and the spring lock suits? Let's see. And if you trigger those spring locks, two things will happen. First, the locks themselves will snap right into you, making deep cuts all over your body. And a split second later, all the animatronic parts, all that sharp steel and hard plastic, will instantly be driven into your body. You will die, but it will be slow. You'll feel your organs punctured, the suit will grow wet with your blood, and you will know you're dying for long, long minutes. You'll try to scream, but you will be unable to. Your vocal cords will be severed, and your lungs will fill with your own blood until you drown in it. Oh, yeah. Golden Freddy retains his powers from the games, seemingly teleporting away from the heroes and somehow moving despite being a completely empty costume. The final night that the main characters break into Freddy's. How many times were they in Freddy's? How many nights? Because if it was actually 5 nights, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. And if that's what happened, I hope so, because that would have been perfect. And if it did, how could I not notice? Quick, someone go check. Let's see, I'll probably add this to the other one. Let's see, what else is there? When the main characters break into Freddy's, the door has been welded shut and their entrance is a one-way trip. They are stuck in the restaurant with a serial killer who abducted their friend. Then the murderous animatronics begin stalking them, all with absolutely no way out. A bit of paranoia fuel for you. Whenever the heroes get caught by one of the animatronics, it disappears. The tension is relieved and everybody believes they are safe, only for the animatronic to then lunge out of nowhere and attack. Just like the game. You remember. Charlie thinks back on her childhood where she regularly saw the incomplete Foxy hanging on the wall, thrashing as though it was in intense pain. All this before any of the animatronics were haunted, let alone even finished. Foxy's preferred method of attacking people? Impaling them with his hook hand and dragging them away by that hook. He does this to a character's leg. You remember. It's mentioned that the kids will periodically visit the abandoned mall constructed around Freddy's to mess around and play. The mall is completely abandoned aside from one security guard. That security guard just happens to be a serial killer who murdered at least 5 children. Any guesses what happened to those kids? Alright, let's take a look at the main page. Yep, there's Freddy. It does look like FNAF 4. Reader, be ready. You're in for some Freddy. Goosebumps references. I couldn't help who my dad was, Charlie said, laughing. Jessica looked thoughtful for a moment, then continued. I mean, how could you have a better childhood than spending all day at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, she said. Five Nights at Freddy's, The Silver Eyes. Initially, Five Nights at Freddy's, The Untold Story, is a book based on the Five Nights at Freddy's series. While series creator Scott Cawthon is the author, Kira Breed Risley is also involved in the book's creation. Although Scott has confirmed the book to be an alternate continuity from the games, it explores aspects not shown by them. 10 years have passed since the infamous child murders happened at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and ripped the town of Hurricane, Utah apart. And a young woman named Charlotte, or Charlie, having spent those years trying to forget it, meets up with her old childhood friends on the tragedy's anniversary. Curiosity leads them back to the old pizzeria, which incidentally was owned by Charlotte's father, who also built the infamous life-size animatronics hidden but still standing. Unfortunately, those animatronics aren't quite what they were back then. Let's see. Oh, a hardback edition of the book will come out this year. Let me know if I should read that. Alright, let's see. Scott Cawthon has basically confirmed that the book follows its own sort of storyline apart from the games. This goes a long way in explaining why none of the animatronics for FNAF 2 are mentioned a single time. The cameras work completely differently from the games. The animatronics remain at the second location rather than being moved back to the first after the bite of 87. and why Dave's death isn't completely like it was shown in FNAF 3. A few things wrong with this sentence. The first location isn't the one from the first game. Anyway. Let's see, is there anything on here? Do you remember Carlton? What kind of a name for a serial killer is Dave? Yeah. Huh. Let's see. Anything interesting here? Midquill. It appears to take place between the original game and Five Nights at Freddy's 3, but due to it being an alternate continuity, it's entirely probable that neither game happened, or will happen in 3's case. Wait. 3 has to happen. Or can still happen. Holy cow. Think about it. How did they find Springtrap with the killer already inside? He was killed by Springtrap. He is now Springtrap. Someone will eventually make the Fazbear Fright location, and everything would remain the same. The only difference would be who was present at the time of Springtrap's death. Wait a minute. Although we're controlling the character, the ghost in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, and we get what's-his-face into the Springtrap suit, I feel like because they were all dead, maybe it's like his memory of what happened, but because he's been dead for so long, he doesn't remember exactly what happened, and so he sees what happened as the kids he killed coming back to haunt him and then kill him. Let's see. Unreliable narrator. Much of the backstory comes from Charlie's half-remembered recollections of her early childhood. Given that she didn't understand what was happening back then to begin with, it is left to the readers and the characters to try and fill in the gaps. Okay, so we know for a fact that at least 5 kids were killed, correct? Yes. That goes without saying. I guess the question is, did he use all of the suits to do it? Because there were a bunch of extra parts, remember? And we know that the character Michael was put in the Golden Freddy costume and killed that way. But is there any reason to believe that more than one child might have been put into the same suit? Not at the same time, mind you. Okay, we know from... Okay, spoilers in case you didn't read my series or read the book. We know the first victim was Charlie's brother, and then 5 kids went missing. Let's see. And this was in 1987. Now, assuming that the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 little Easter egg about the TV screen, someone pointed out that it might actually refer to a video game and not a television series, because it had the year that it was made, 1983, on there, and that was something Atari did with its games for the title screen. So, assuming that happened, and he was a bite victim, let's see. he would have been able to get the well, actually no, not really. I was about to say he could have kept the police from looking at him, the purple guy, as the killer, because, you know, those kids ended up accidentally getting his brother maimed. But if that did happen in '83, it wouldn't have prevented him from getting looked at suspiciously when the 5 kids went missing in '87. I guess the question is, if it was a video game, why would it be there? And which came first, that video game or Five Nights at Freddy's? Well, let's look back. Or, you know what I meant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Okay, so the book, it took place in 1995 or so, correct? We know that the first game happens in 1993. So of course these would be the animatronics that they have, because in '87 the others, the original ones, were destroyed. And since they were at this location, they would have no memories of the toy animatronics. Correct? Okay. Now, I don't know if this is actually true. This is just kind of me, off the cuff. I don't know if I used that phrase correctly. Anyway, where was I going with this? Ah, geez. I knew I should have written a list first. Okay, so 10 years before that is 1985. Unless it was in 97. Anyway, so we know 6 kids were confirmed killed. 5 at the location from... Let's see. When was the location from the first game opened? Okay, 87 shut down, presumably, and then they would probably open it back up at a later date. So somewhere between 1990 and 1993, it opened up again and then had to be shut down again with a smaller budget. And then those animatronics are destroyed, and kids at that location went missing. Wait a minute. Although he was co-founder, spoilers again, Dave, what if he wasn't alone? I mean, it would be pretty simple for him to just go from one location to another and just say, oh, I'm here to inspect the place and then kill kids there, but... Huh. We never thought about that, huh? I say huh a lot. Okay. So, that means 11 kids plus the boy who gets bitten in Five Nights at Freddy's 4. That means 12 kids were horrendously mutilated by Fazbear's Pizza, essentially. At least. Now, where does the puppet come into all this? Because he was originally going to be in the original Five Nights at Freddy's game. Like, Scott had actually made the sprite for him and everything, but he couldn't find a way to make him fit properly. And someone pointed out you can hear the music box still playing in the background on certain cameras, meaning he might still be in there, only they've set it up to be automatically reset so that he doesn't come out and get you. Where would the puppet come from? Now, somebody pointed out, I forget where, I think it was somewhere on this page. I like how this started out being me reading the thing, and then it turned into a theory video, that Charlie's dad, if you remember what happened to him, it's very sad, but he might be the puppet. You know, someone who seemed at first to be the big bad and dangerous to children especially. And then it ultimately turns out that he was trying to protect them. He does sound an awful lot like the puppet if you talk in vague terms. I realize what I said. Okay, so I'm going to assume that Charlie's dad is the puppet. And even though the games and the book are in alternate continuity, that doesn't mean that everything that happens in one didn't happen in the other. It just means that things happen slightly differently. You know? Like, with the New 52 for DC, I'll use that as an example. They cut down a lot of stuff, and they condensed a great number of backstory for everybody into like 5 years. The Blackest Night storyline happened. Everything that led up to that still happened. The War of Light still happened. But it was all very much condensed. So the same things happened, just slightly differently. They're not mutually exclusive, which is one of the problems I have with people saying, oh, it's an alternate continuity, so that means it doesn't count. So, you know, keep that in mind. Let me know if I was, what do you call it, coherent enough for you guys to understand. I will do my best next time. I want to do a 5 Nights at Freddy's video, especially a theory video. Let's see. Wait a minute. The line that says, I will put you back together, everyone assumes it's not Golden Freddy who says that, but the puppet. If the puppet were to be Charlie's dad, he built the animatronics. It would explain, or it would be appropriate, rather, to have him say, I will put you back together. But then what happened to that child? Because Michael was killed in that suit. And then this boy, he must have just been a poor innocent victim and everything. He may not even be... What if he is the puppet? And Charlie's dad is just the one putting them inside the animatronics and whatnot. Although the puppet isn't an animatronic. At least not properly so. Anyway, that's getting into a whole nother can of worms. Let's not bother with it. I've said my piece. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really wish I could be coherent and whatnot, but I get so jumbled and distracted and everything, and I need to get Iggy out of the tub. And he jumped out. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. If you want to see more 5 Nights at Freddy's stuff. Wow, that ended up being a lot longer than it should have been. And I'm way down here in the corner. Anyway, until next time, goodbye everybody. Sorry.